Omar, welcome to Inside Albania. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you
We're
for
going to
having
talk
me.
about two topics today, but let's start with the lighter of the two, which is the upcoming festival in Gjakova, Ditët and Nëntorit. I attended the Ditët and Shqiptarit in the summer with my daughter, and it was amazing. We had a great time. So when I heard there was going to be a follow-up festival, I was like, right, I'm going to go for sure. And I thought it would be good to get you here to talk a bit about the festival, its purpose, and a few other things to do with Gjakova. So, for those that don't know, Ditët and Nëntorit, what's the story behind it? What's its purpose?
Yeah, we were a group of people, of Gjakovars. So people from Gjakova are quite connected to their own origin, included me. So we are from Gjakova. Some of them live in Pristina. I live in Tirana. Some others in Gjakova or other places. So anyway, we decided someday to get together. We're friends and try to do something for our city that we love a lot, because it's a city that can offer a lot. But the problem is that they're not good on marketing. They're not good on selling their own image and cultural products to the tourists. So there are a few tourists, at least for the moment. Mm-hmm. So a city that can offer a lot. But we're trying to help the city, to help the others, tourists from other places, especially from Albania, North Macedonia, or even from the Albanian diaspora. Why not international tourists, to discover Gjakova? It's a very rich city in terms of history. Some of the most important moments in Albanian history have their origin there.
Such as, for
example, the first battle of the Prizren League, mm-hmm. The nationalistic league that created they wanted to create an independent Albania, but failed, but at least made the first important step to that. The first battle was in Gjakova, mm-hmm. and the commander of this league was still the military commander. Suleiman Vokshi was in Gjakova. Some of the most important cultural and historical personalities of Albania are from Gjakova. Like the Kreziu brothers, for example, which are very well known for those who know history. They were anti-communist who fought against the communists, cooperated with the British, mm-hmm. With the Allies. And then you have people like Bayramturi, for example. There is a city, as you might know, in Albania, which is
Wonderful
called Bayramturi. And it's one of the rare cases in which you have the name of a person given to a mm-hmm. city. And this guy, Bayramturi, is someone from Gjakova.
I don't think there's others, are there, in Albania that have the name?
In Albania, we had Qyteti Stalin
before, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But then there are personalities of the day which are famous, like painters, like Abdurrahman Buza, mm-hmm. for example. He's not alive now, but or you have people like Bekim Femiu, a great actor who lived in Yugoslavia at the time, but who played in international movies. And you have football players like Lorik Cana, Besnik Hasi, singers or musicians like Shkelzen Doli, Petrit Çarkaxhia, which everybody loves in Albania, especially the younger. So it's a small city of around 45,000 inhabitants, but it has done unproportionally good to Albanian history and culture.
It's like they say Shkodra is the cradle of culture in Albania, and perhaps Gjakova is the cradle of culture in Kosovo.
Yes, it has been considered as such, mm-hmm. and it was some kind of a bridge between Albania and Kosovo. And it was a city connected with Albania more mm-hmm. than the other part of Kosovo, to be honest. But after the independence, it has been left outside the border. So basically, it has been cut off of its own hinterland, mm-hmm. like the Malësia, Gjakovës, Tropoja, and all the Albanian Alps. So they have their own cuisine, which is amazing. Yes, I know it because of my grandparents.
I think I gained about 1.5 kilos in 3 days during my last visit.
It's not good for diets.
Because it's bread, it's meat, it's cheese. It's quite a heavy sort of
It's heavy because
diet.
It's continental.
And with spices,
yes.
The spicy peppers and the aviar and things. Because Albanian food, like when I talk about Albania, it doesn't tend to be too spicy.
No,
the food in Gjakova was, and I really liked that.
It's spicy, and it's but you have to know that it's continental food, so it's more influenced by continental food.
Yeah.
It's rather bit like 2 or 3 or 4 hours from the Adriatic Sea.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't find a lot of fish or
No,
whatever,
no.
but though you can find trouts, but it's a bit more specific. But it has its proper cuisine. If you go to other cities, like if you go to Pristina or Mališeva or Mitrovica, whatever other cities in Kosovo, they don't have a proper cuisine. You go to Gjakova, they have their own specialties.
It's immediately identifiable.
They have the famous tava with tava me patlıcan, like of tava with tomatoes and meat.
There was this bread I had, I forgot the name of it, with sausage in.
Samuna me
my
sucuk.
God.
Yeah.
This wonderful bread with sausage in it, and just, I mean, it's dangerous.
Yes.
That
You know,
is-
there are traditions. If you go to a bakery, for example, you go at 10 in the morning.
Yeah, I
you
did.
cannot find samuna
I tried.
You
I
have
had
to
go
go
early.
earlier.
Yeah.
because they are tradition. And you know, people when they go to prepare the samunas, for example, they go there and they take the sujuk with them, the meat with them, because every house has its own
Yeah.
taste in sujuk. And like up to now, there are not so many people preparing sujuk, but I know that like 10 or 15 years ago, at least, every house, every home, every family in Gjakova was preparing its own sujuk with its own formula.
And just for those who don't know, because we have international listeners as well, the sujuk is it's a
kind of
sausage, but it's
sausage.
dried, isn't it?
It's dry.
It's
It's dry.
quite salty and preserved with salt and spices rather
But it's
than one
different
that you
from
cook.
processed
Yes.
sausages
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Europe. Like it's totally different.
Yes.
And it's made at home.
Yes, and it's very, like you said, it's very particular. Even I went with my partner there, and we were going to buy some sucuk, and he was inspecting all of them very carefully. He was like, no, this, no, and found the exact
Yes,
one he
yes.
wanted. It's not just a matter of you pick up one and that's it.
I know,
They all
and
have very particular qualities.
And every home had its own
Taken
formula.
very
So-
seriously.
So everyone was preparing was choosing the right combination that they liked between onion, meat, spices, pepper, and the kind of meat, etc. But the best sujuk in Kosovo is in Albania in general. So for Albanians, it's in Gjakova.
So the aim of this festival is to bring attention to the art and the culture and this place as sort of a tourist destination. I mean, it's taking place in November. It's going to be cold, but I quite like that. But it's about highlighting what the city has to offer, and that is a lot. I was there for 3 days, and it felt artistic, it felt bohemian, everyone was very friendly, there was a lot to explore. I didn't even have a chance to scratch the surface of what was sort of on offer there. So it's something I think is interesting to foreign people as well. This is not a festival just for Albanians. It's not, if you don't speak Albanian, you're not going to turn up and be completely confused and lost, It's something that will appeal to foreigners as well. What is on offer? So the festival's actually already started, and we
Yes.
have another week left,
Yes.
running up until the Albanian national holidays. What's on offer over the next sort of week for people to take part in?
Well, there are different elements. Gjakova has the biggest charshia, bazaar, ancient bazaar, medieval bazaar in all Albanian territories where Albanians live, in Albania and everywhere else.
In the Balkans,
In
I
the
think we can
Balkans,
say.
let's say. Yeah, that's right. Because I was trying to avoid
Starting a war.
nationalistic points of view. But yeah, among Albanians, wherever they are in the Balkans, they have the biggest charshia.
Yes.
The biggest alive, living
Yeah,
charshia.
still with shops.
So they still do shops and everything. And so this is one of the centers. You go there, there are a lot of coffee shops and restaurants.
Yeah, it's amazing.
and
Until the
everything.
early hours of the morning, music.
Yes,
and it's great.
rakia
Yeah.
and
Food.
sucuk, food and music.
Dancing.
Music, the traditional music of Gjakova, because just like the cuisine, they have a specific music
Yes. Yeah.
made in Gjakova. And there are a lot of Gjakova songs who are famous even in Albania. People don't know that they're coming from Gjakova, but they're
But
from
I picked
Gjakova.
up on the differences where I was listening to some of the music last time, and I was like, okay, it sounds Albanian, but it doesn't sound like the normal Albanian music.
Not like-
it
like
has
the
a different
southern.
structure. Even the notes, the notation sounded different to me.
There are two main influences. First, the music is influenced by the northern Albania part, like the Alps, like the Highlanders, let's say. We can use that word, Malsort. and the other part is the influence from the medieval times, including the Ottoman Empire. So you can find those influences. But there is a strong Albanian core
Yes.
into that music. Then, Çarshia is one of the places. Then the other most important place is the Teatri Hadishehu, Teatri Kulturës there, and this is where we had 2 days ago the opera Goca e Kaçanikut, which is the first Kosovar opera made by Rauf Domi, another Gjakovar compositor. And we will have this Saturday the Ensemble Këngëve dhe Valleve, which are the national dance ensemble, and from Albania. But they have a very good and excellent representation of the Albanian culture in general, because there will be songs from southern Albania, from even from Albanians who used to live in northern Greece, in Chameria. You will have Albanian, of course, songs from northern Macedonia, Montenegro maybe, and other places. So you will have a whole mosaic of the Albanian culture in general. This is going to be a great show. Then on the 28th is probably one of the most original shows. Is a group called Saziso. Some of them are living in London, some in Athens, some in Albania, and they gather together only for international concerts. And their producer is a guy who worked as a producer for Pink Floyd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you can imagine the kind of quality they have.
I'll be there on the 28th.
Yes.
So,
This is like world music. You can put it on the category of world music, but it has the best of southern Albania music. But it's amazing. It's fantastic. It's nothing like you watch on YouTube or TV. You are there, makes you cry, makes you scream, but it's great music. It's fantastic music. Then the last night will be a gala concert, will be a concert with lyrical music from Albanian musicians and from Kosovo, and singers, of course. So then we'll have after parties every day. The after parties, which means we have some, for example, some groups from music groups at the Çarshia singing in some of the different cafes with rakia and sujuk and everything else. So the old city will be, let's say, very vivid.
Yes.
Will be a vibrant city during these days, very warm. Of course, it will be cold in general outside.
Warm in mood, not in temperature.
Yes, but inside, in the heart of the city, it will be really, really hot. It will be really a great city. And we are trying to organize these activities because we want to attract people there. We want people to get to Gjakova and discover what this fantastic city is offering. And this is the goal. And this is especially interesting for people who are coming from Tirana, from Skopje, from Ulcino, from the Albanian diaspora, but also for international tourists.
Yes.
Because it has a specificity. Gjakova is probably the most Albanian city in the Balkans. It has worked a lot for years and years, maybe centuries, to save the real spirit of being Albanian. And this is why it's a very special city. And even these activities are all 100% connected to Albanian culture, representing the Albanian culture.
And I just want to say as well about the international tourist things, for people living in the region who are maybe not Albanian, I mean, I speak Albanian, but I went there, everyone was very friendly, everyone spoke English that I came across, and there was something going on constantly. From morning to night, there were different roundtables and discussions and meetings and music and huge, big concerts, and then smaller, there was just something going on everywhere. So for anyone looking for music and food, who doesn't like music and food? It's definitely worth visiting. Now, you mentioned something, and it reminded me of something else you said. Gjakova is the most Albanian city in the region, and I'd read previously that during the Kosovo War, one of the reasons Gjakova had suffered so much was exactly because of this, because it was so Albanian. They couldn't shake the Albanian out of them. It had very strong ties to Albania as well, and this served as a catalyst. I don't know if that's the right word, but that angered the Serbs. It made them feel like they didn't have control over it, couldn't have control over it, and this is why they were so harsh in what they did in Jakova. I had read that. I don't know if that is something you agree with, but
Absolutely, everybody agrees with that because
Yeah.
it's easy to confirm that.
can you explain a bit, again, for those who are listening, who may not have so much knowledge about what happened there, sort of what went on during the war there, and what has maybe led to this situation where people from Jakova are so proud and so keen to preserve the history of their city?
Jakova has been since immemorial times somehow, let's say, the one of the most important centers of Albanian culture. Uh, so not only culture but also intellectualism. Because, for example, some of the most important intellectuals and cultural personalities, historical, as I said before, personalities were coming from Jakova, and it's a city who has been saving the Albanian tradition in a fanatical way. So they loved that and they were ready to sacrifice for that. And of course, because of these reasons, it was the first target of the Milosevic troops. And the first killings in Kosovo started in Jakova, I mean, in the street. They started killing intellectuals, professors, doctors, everywhere. And Jakova has, just to give you an example, usually people were fighting for the UÇK at the time, the Albanian,
Liberation.
Kosovo Liberation Army at the time. They were coming from different backgrounds, but mostly they were based on rural areas, mountains and hills. Jakova is the only place, the only city that had a brigade of volunteers of the Kosovo Liberation Army within the city, which means there were intellectuals, most of them they were students, even high schoolers, or people who had degrees and everything. But I mean, people like you and me, who took their arms and they wanted to defend their own city. It's the city who suffered the most. Some of these people are from my family because I am from there. So in every family where you go in Kosovo, you will find someone who disappeared, someone who died. They don't even know there are like 1,200 or 300 people who they don't even know where they are. They know that they are dead, but they don't know where they are. You can imagine this for such a small city.
45,000.
Everybody has someone of the family that they don't know nothing
That's
about from the
terrible,
war.
isn't it?
So they suffered a lot for that, but they are very noble people. Like when you go to Jakova, you don't necessarily feel that kind of pain. Somehow they try to hide it or to cover it or to go beyond it. You have to really stay with them, spend some time, and then they will open to you.
Yeah.
But they are proud and they won't come and play the victim with you. So this is Jakova. It's a very, very special place. They have paid the high price for their willingness to safeguard the Albanian culture up there.
And that's why events like this are so important, and why everybody should come to the festival in the next week.
Yes, because I think when you see the level, the quality, and the amount, the number of events during these 2 weeks of November, let's say, even if you put together Pristina and Tirana and Skopje together, they don't have these activities.
Also,
all of them.
Jakova, Kosovo, Albania, they all have these demographic crises. Everyone's leaving. They're going to Pristina or the Tirana or out of the country, and this culture is at risk of being lost bit by bit by bit. So by bringing people to these places, by promoting the culture, by promoting tourism, by generating money for the local community, it's an incentive for people maybe not to leave and to consider staying behind and keeping the feeling alive.
Of course. This is, I mean, we thought since the beginning that we want to help the city because it's a group of volunteers, as I told you. It's probably the only NGO in all the Balkans that not only people are not paid for the work they're doing, but they're spending money.
Yeah.
So some of us in this NGO that we created spent thousands and thousands of euros for organizing these activities. So this is not the typical NGO.
Yeah.
So, but we wanted since the beginning that to make the city, this proud city, to make it get back to life.
Yes. Yeah.
again.
important.
And we want to make them share any kind of cultural value and tradition that they have. So because we think the city is very attractive, but they don't really are good in marketing.
No.
So we are trying to organize these activities in order to attract attention. But we also want that young people from Gjakova don't go away,
Yes.
don't go abroad. We want them to find hope and to build up their own progress there in their own city. This is one of
Yes.
the goal, because there are a lot of them who are leaving, unfortunately.